Okay, good morning everyone. Today I'm going to discuss an important concept in generative AI, which is activation function. Okay, this topic helps us to understand how neural network actually decide what information to be pass forward and what to ignore. For simple numbers, activation function helps transform model into intelligent and even creative systems. Here, let's see what is actually activation function is. Activation function are the decision makers inside the neural network. Since we have a neural network, inside this neural network, this activation function only decide what decision has to be taken according to the given prompt or question or whatever it may be. Okay, they help the neural network to determine which signals are important and which are not important. Just like human don't react same way to every situation, the neural network also need to have same mechanism to filter and respond appropriately. This filtering mechanism is called as activation function. Okay, let's discuss something. When you hear bad news and good news, do you react in the same way? Okay, it is not the same way we react to a good news and also to a bad news. We will react according to the situation. Similarly, neural network use activation function to filter input signal and decide how strongly a neural network should respond. So today let's discuss how this activation function is making decision in AI. Okay, why this activation function matters? Now imagine a neural network without activation function. It would only perform linear operation. No matter how many layers we add, the network would behave like a simple linear model. That means it cannot learn complex patterns like images or speech or text generation. In generative AI, this would result in boring and inaccurate output. So activation function introduce non-linearity, which allows the model to learn complex and creative pattern. Okay, an activation function is a mathematical function that decides whether a neuron should fire or not. Its main role are: first, it introduces a non-linearity. Second, it controls the information flow between layer. There will be many layer in neural network. It controls the information which is flowing from one layer to another layer. Third, it enables learning and creativity in the deep network. Without activation function, deep learning would not be possible. Okay, why activation function matters in generative AI? In generative AI models, activation function plays an even more important role. They helps the model learn complex patterns in images, text, and audio. They control gradient flow during backpropagation. They improve realism in generated outputs, and they stabilize training, especially in deep networks like GANs and diffusion function. Okay, what does the activation function do? What is a common activity of activation function is? Let's look some common activation function we hear is Sigmoid, Tanh, ReLU, and leaky ReLU. Sigmoid, it gives probability based output between 0 and 1. It often uses binary classification. Tanh, it outputs value between -1 to 1. It balanced around 0. And ReLU is rectified linear unit. It is simple, fast, and computationally efficient. That is why it is very popular. It is used for fast and efficient learning. Okay, leaky ReLU, it solves the dead neuron problem of ReLU by allowing a small gradient when input is negative. And activation function in generative, where they are used. In generative AI models, activation function are used in different components. In GAN, generative adversarial network, both the generator and discriminator are uses activation function. In variational encoders, autoencoders, they are used in both encoder and decoder. In diffusion model, they help during the noise removal steps to refine output progressively. Here we have a case study. Let us consider a phase image generator example using GAN. Okay. In the scenario, the generator uses ReLU in hidden layer. The output layer uses Tanh. Why ReLU helps network learn features quickly and efficiently? Tanh outputs value between -1 and 1, which is suitable for normalized image pixel value. The result is faster convergence, sharper images, and more stable training. Here is a short mapping of design thinking concept. We can also understand the activation function using this design thinking concept is empathize, understand the desired output behavior, and in define part we can identify training problems like vanishing gradients. In ideate, we will choose appropriate activation function. In prototype training, we are going to train the model, and in test path evaluate the output quality. So activation function is actually a design decision. Okay, thank you. I hope you understand this concept. We'll see you next video. Thank you.